Good evening. Is that mic on? Can you hear me? No, you can't hear me. Okay. Hello? Can you hear me now? Okay, there we go. I can always use my lifeguard voice. You can hear me without my mic. Good evening. I'm Corelli, head of Columbus School for Girls, and on behalf of the CSG community, I welcome you to our magnificent Agnes Jeffrey Shedd Theater and to the Bexley's 2020 State of the Community Roundtable. I'm noticing that just as with students, each of you has picked a particular place in the auditorium. The A students are down front, troublemakers are in the back, and the people in the middle, I'm not sure about you, but we'll figure that out by the end of the evening. Here at CSG, we help to ensure that every student knows power. We know, of course, that having power isn't particularly useful unless you know how to use that power effectively. One of the ways we empower CSG girls is by encouraging them and giving them many opportunities to speak out to make the work. Our students do that in many ways, through service learning, lobbying and writing letter representatives, researching problems and seeking solutions to those problems, just to name a few. Being well informed about your community so that you can advocate for the issues that you care about is yet another CSG students' voices and know their power. It is in part for this reason that I am that CSG is hosting Bexley's State of the Community Roundtable. We are so proud to be part of this wonderful community. Enjoy the evening. It promises to be very informative. I would now like to introduce someone who needs no introduction really, Lorianne Feibel. Not only is Lorianne president of City Council, let's see, Supreme Ruler, I think is another title that she has among many. I think her husband just rolled his eyes, but she is also a CSG parent. Her daughters, Annie and Adelaide, are proud CSG, lifelong unicorns, and two women who know their power. Lorianne will moderate our discussion this evening. So welcome, Lorianne Feibel.
Welcome, Bexley, those in the audience, and those viewing via Facebook Live to our annual State of the Community event. We are so glad you care enough to share the next hours of your evening with us. First, Jennifer, thank you for your amazing facilities team. I have worked with that amazing facilities team doing a lot of volunteer work, and I know just how amazing they actually are. Thank you so much for welcoming us into this beautiful. I know very well how hard the CSG community worked to make this auditorium happen. And it was always CSG's plan to share it with the rest of the community. So thank you so for doing so. CSG is just one of many special pieces of the Bexley puzzle that helps to create our community's big picture. I see members from all kinds of different organizations out in the audience, and in particular, I see two really educational institution people from St. Charles, from Bexley and city schools. So we know how important each piece is to the puzzle. Bexley's big picture is beautiful because so many talented individuals who stand up, lead, and volunteer with a willingness to work collaboratively towards creating an even stronger community. It reminds us that alone we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. I recognize just some of the individuals in Bexley that help make our community, do so much. I know there are some elected officials out there from the Bexley City Council, some of my peers. I'd love for you guys to stand. I know you're there. Please stand. I know we've got some school board members. We have Bexley school board members. If you could please stand and be recognized. Our fabulous auditor, Bill Harvey, is here. He can stand. Also have some commission and board members. I'd love for you to stand for this from the city of Bexley. I know you're there. Come on. And then I know there is a really special group of people that make Bexley lives so much easier. Those people who are the directors and staff and people that work so hard. If you all could stand in the back. Come on. Caring communities come together as we have tonight to celebrate accomplishments, to evaluate opportunities, to highlight bold ideas. When thinking along these lines, Robert Kennedy would caution, it is not more bigness that should be our goal. We must rather to bring people back to the warmth of community, to the worth of individual effort and responsibility, and individuals working together as a community to better their lives and their children's future. Tonight, we will hear from 4 individuals who are pros at working together to our lives and to for our community's future. Benjamin Heckman.
Use my full name.
Our favorite librarian, Jeffrey Walker. From the Bexley Community Foundation, Elaine Pells. From the Bexley Chamber of Commerce, and the Honorable Benjamin Kessler. After our speakers finish tonight, so each one of them is going to take time to share some thoughts with you. After they finish, we're going to have a Q&A. Now, people on Facebook viewing live, you can comment on the post, and we will get your comments, your questions, and we'll be sure to make those asked. All of you should have seen some sheets that look like this. Whoops, I'll just last one. That look like this, and you could fill those out already. Perhaps you have. If not, Hallie and Sam are going to be coming around to collect some of those, and after the 4th, we will answer all of those. So without further ado, what did Bexley do in 2019, and what are they going to do in 2020? Let's hear first from everyone's favorite librarian, Benjamin Heckman.
All right, can you hear me? This thing on? No? All right. No, I didn't. I was told not to. Can you hear me?
It might be muted, just double check. It's not green.
Check. Where did I put it? Glad I'm the first one. Get this all.
You're doing great, Ben.
How's that? Oh, yeah, all right. User error. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to bookend with the other Ben and to be here with these fine partners, Chamber and the Bexley Community Foundation. So with that, we're going to do the sitting down. You ready? Okay. First off, we love being your library. On behalf of the wonderful staff that we have, the library board, and myself, to be in a community that values education so much, that values engagement, and is heavy users of their library, it's a wonderful place to work, as I'm sure live. And so, first and foremost, we love being here with such a great community. So thank you for that. If that's all we're good. All right, we're going to do some comparative statistics. Who's excited about it? Right, yeah. So, 2019, we had almost 41,000 attend a program or a meeting in the library. Okay? So that's like Huntington Park 4 times. Pretty good, right? Look at that. We had 180,000 people visit the library. That's about 15,000 a month. And that would fill up nationwide 9 times. 9 times, Elaine Pels. And then 645,000 items circulated. That's nearly 54,000 a month. Anybody can guess what we're going to use next? Ohio Stadium, 6 times. So if you think about that building on street, you're getting a lot of activity coming in and out of that building every year. So there we go, some comparative statistics. The highlights from 2019, Jerry Pinkney was our first family author visit. This is an extension of our Bexley Community Author Series. We welcomed over 100 family members of all ages to this event, and it was really wonderful. Bird kits. Now you can check out games and kits to go catch all the cool birds and identify them. That's really cool, guys. The COSI Science Fest, this was the first time they did this. This is inaugural. Bexley partnered with this on multiple levels. We were a big participant of that, and so great photos of that. It was a great event. Our #1 used database in 2019 was the New York Times. Mayor, did you know you can get free New York Times through the library? All right, so you may be a user. So if you didn't know that, you can get New York Times. Our civics programs, we continue to focus on complex things in the world where patrons can come and ask questions, find out what's going on, understand for themselves. We had a human trafficking event just the other night. During the new bill that just got passed through the State House. Come and ask questions with your neighbor, what's going on. And then we had a really cool Star Wars party. We had lasers and a Falcon. So that's like what's over your head right now. And then exciting things are in store for 2020. We have a brand new website and a new app. So if you want to pull your phone out right now and download it, I will not be offended. You are able to see the happening at the library. You can reserve books. If you're at a bookstore, you can scan a book and it'll search the system for you. That's pretty cool. So check that out. Circulating Art Library. So this is very, very cool. We're very excited. At the library, we focus a lot on access. We want to make sure that people can get information. We want to make sure if they need the internet, they can get to the internet. And art is such an important part to being a human being that we wanted to try to remove some barriers to art. So thanks to some generous funding from the Ohio Arts Council, the State Library of Ohio, and the Bexley Community Foundation, we've put out an artist call for 12 to 15 pieces of art. This will be a juried selection, these pieces of art. The artist will receive $400 from this grant money. So we're supporting local artists in our community. We'll have an art reception at the library. And then after that, you will be able to check out these works of art and hang them up in your home for up to a month so that you can have local artists in your home and you can explore the different art going on. It's really cool. 2020 Census Open House on Thursday, March 19th from 2 to 4, and on April 1st, which is National Census Day, which is a Wednesday from 4 to 6. If you have any questions about the census, you can come and learn. We'll get you geared up to fill that out. And we're doing a story time all about counting. Oh yeah, there's a picture of Ben Franklin. Forgot about that. Hotspot lending. We currently lending 5 hotspots to the community. There's a tremendous need for this. We never have them. We are expanding that to 20 Wi-Fi hotspots to help people that need internet get internet wherever they are. So we'll be expanding that program. And lastly, coming up, our strategic plan ends in 2020. So we'll be reaching out to the community, asking you what you want from the library for the next 10, 15 years, what we can do, we're not providing, what you'd like us to see, us to change and do. So we'll input as the year goes on. On Tuesday, April 21st, is our Bexley Community Author Series. We're having Susan Orlean come. Her most recent book, The Library Book, is a very non-book talking about the fire that happened at Los Angeles Public Library. Many didn't hear about this because it was the same week as Chernobyl. It's a wonderful love letter to libraries as she explores the history. So it happens to be during National Library Week. That's smart. It's like it happened. I know, it's like it was geared up. So join us for that. And then into our summer community read program, Imagine Your Story. It's a fairy tale themed season this year. So we'll have more details as the program guides come out. And we love being part of the community, and we very much are the connective tissue to a lot of the things that go on in this community, and that's a privilege. And I want to thank a lot of the local people that make this happen for us and allow us to partner with them and do some of our best work. And even outside of the community, we have some great partnerships. So we want to thank everyone for all that. And so lastly, thank you for your time and everything tonight, Bexley. You guys are the best. Oh, and now it's my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of the Bexley Area Chamber of Commerce,
Thank you.
Elaine Pells.
So is this on? Can you hear me? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. That
Hey.
was fabulous. Hard act to follow. But first, we're so thrilled to be here tonight, and we're grateful that you're all here too. So thank you for joining us. And for those of you who are on Facebook Live, please remember to post your comments so that we can collect those. So, way back in the year 20, the Bexley Chamber Board decided that 2019 was going to be our best year yet. And indeed, it really was. We added 61 new members, keeping our total at over 300. And we put together 30 events to engage, promote, and educate those members. Excuse me. So those included the fabulous Taste of Bexley, another great role for Mr. Ben Heckman. This was our most fun Taste of Bexley yet. It also included a holiday hop that engaged more people than ever before. We launched Everyone Starts Somewhere, our programming dedicated to educating and promoting area entrepreneurs. And we welcomed new office staff. All in all, it was a very successful year. Yes, if you can figure out who those two people are in the back of that photo, you win a prize. So 2019 was so great. What's 2020 going to be like? Well, for 2020, we coined the phrase that we have a clear vision. Now, I know there's a pun in here, but it really fits. Because the Chamber, in keeping with our mission, which is to support a vibrant business environment that in itself supports the greater of Bexley, our focus continues to be on connectivity, connecting businesses to businesses, businesses to consumers, and consumers back to those businesses. So how do we do that? In 2020, we start off with a new member benefit, and that is a brand new internship mentorship program that we've developed, working with area high schools and Capital University to connect students and our members. The benefit to the students obviously is experiential learning, as well as dipping their toes into that pool of, hey, is this a career path I might be interested in? On the reverse side, the benefit to the businesses is fresh ideas, extra hands, and the possibility of hiring someone who could be a potential employee. This is not a website yet, but we have all the literature in the back of the house, so we'll see it there soon. And feel free to contact us if you're interested to learn more. We're rolling out a brand new directory. This is our member directory. This one is 2 years old, so the next one will be coming out this spring, hot off the printing press. We're going to print 3,500 copies like we did last time, which we ran through, and it will also be online. Not only does the directory highlight our members alphabetically as well as categorically, but it will also contain information about how many of those members are engaged in our community. So your eye out for that soon. We also are adding another event because we always need more, right? This is going to be our golf outing, first time for the chamber. So if you play golf, if you have friends that play golf, we hope you'll come join. The date's June 8th, Monday. Even if you're not very good, even if you're not a chamber member, we hope you'll come join us. Again, information start to appear very soon, so we're excited about that. And the other thing we wanted to make sure you know about it are our 2 new board members this year. Dawn Fries continues our stellar partnership with Capital University, and Laura Dennis is the co-owner of Newfangled Kitchen, and she helps keep that small business appetite and that small business voice on the chamber board. Besides that, we're continuing with all of our signature chamber events. We hope that you will attend as many as you can. These are all community focused. And out in the lobby, there are little half sheets that have our calendar of events for 2020. So we hope you'll pick one up and put all those dates on your calendar. We'd love to have you participate. So all in all, for us, we've had great times last year, even this year, and we're planning for some more in the future. And what we really want you to do is stop by our office at 544 South Drexel. We're right next door to the Community Foundation. We're right across from Greg Frame. And come by and learn about all the resources that are available to help you. And with that, I thank you. And I will pass the baton on to Jeff from the Bexley Community Foundation.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you all for attending tonight and for your time. I only have a couple minutes to talk tonight. I could talk about the Community Foundation for an hour, but I promise I won't. There's a lot of exciting things that have happened and a lot that are going on, so we'll just try to highlight a couple things over the next 4 or 5 minutes. First of all, to give you an idea of the structure, really what is the Community Foundation about? For those of you that may not know, we say our mission is to make Bexley a better place to live, learn, work, and play. It's so that we can connect resources in the community to a program or an improvement in the city of Bexley. That's really our idea. That's really our purpose, is to join and be a conduit to happen to make Bexley a better place. How do we do that? We actually have 12 different funds. So when you think about the Community Foundation, you may think of our general fund, that has discretion to do a wide variety of things to improve Bexley. But we also have 11 different specialty funds. And you can see examples of those up there, everything from creative arts to the farmers markets to the author series fund that Ben spoke with earlier. So we really fulfill our mission through the main fund as well as those community funds. A big thank you to here and everyone in the, because as I said before, it's really not the foundation doing all of this. We are the Bexley Community Foundation, and so we are your foundation. We are the community's foundation, and it's your foundation as citizens, as members of this community. So a big thank you to you all. You're the ones that have really made this all happen. We're going to be 10 years old this year, so we're still a relatively young organization. And we granted our first $1 million in grants in 2017. So we were very happy about that we hit $1 million in that time period. But in 2019, only 2 years later, we granted our next $500,000. So we hit $1.5 million last year. And with everything that is coming up this year, some of our biggest Jeffrey Manchin grant that will be happening this year, we actually anticipate that we'll surpass $3 million in total grants by the end of this year. So then we'll touch on Jeffrey Manchin in a minute, and I know the mayor will be talking a lot about Jeffrey Manchin, and it's obviously a big capital campaign that we're in the process of wrapping up. But one thing that's important to realize is that will be, has not happened yet, but that will be our largest grant. But to date, the grants have been, the highest grant to date was $81. The grant $100. And so we have done 200 grants in the so far, 9 years plus that we've been in existence, and they have had that tremendous range. So we really support small, intimate projects, and we support the larger projects. So we like to think on a lot of different levels. We have 2 grant cycles a year. We may be increasing that. We're in discussions about that, but right now we have 2 grant cycles. And the first grant cycle just started. So we accepted letters of intent from interested parties that wanted to request money. That grant cycle, we had requests for funds. That's a record. That's the most that we have had. So we're excited not only that we're giving away more money, but we're getting more requests and more in. And we really need both of those to make everything happen. So we're excited about that. Even though the grant cycle is just starting, we do have a process. If there's a short, I don't want to say emergency, but a short-term time-critical need, we can put that grant on an expedited process. So even though it's only February 10th, we have a couple grants that I can announce tonight that we just decided in the last few days, and we just told the grant recipients today. We actually were thinking about doing this as a surprise until here, but they may not have enough time to do that. So the first, and by the way, that 16 grants total $150,000 in requests. The first is the Bexley knows about the House and Garden Tour. It's been going on since 1937, so certainly something that's been going on long before the Community Foundation existed, but they requested a grant, and we provided a grant for $3,000 to provide tents. So there will now be more tents, new tents to purchase for musicians and artists and so forth. So it'll be a way of helping the Women's Club to improve that long time event. We mentioned the census earlier, and another tie-in, we granted Capital University $3,000 for a census project, and without getting into a lot of detail, there's some thought that some portions of the population are undercounted in the census, and having an accurate census is very beneficial to the city because some of the formulas and so forth, so it's in our interest as a community to make sure everyone is counted. And so the Capital University is undertaking a census program where they are going to be going door to door in phase 1, knocking on doors. It's particularly geared towards the community around Capitol as well as Capitals who might be living off campus and would be counted as living in Capitol, to make sure all those are counted. Phase 2 of that will be April 1st on the census day, and there will be iPad operations and so forth for students. Again, just an effort to reach out. It's a program for the census, but it really does benefit Bexley as well. Also to Capital University, we're going to be sponsoring the Active Aging Symposium. This will be the 4th year we've had this symposium, and we're happy to sponsor that again to assure that happens. 200 people attended that last year. Successful, popular event. The Kozai Science Festival is going to be in the beginning of May. We are sponsoring that as well this year. And then finally, going back to those smaller projects, the Montrose 4th grade requested $100 for Rocks for Kindness, where we're going to be supporting their efforts to make sure they're supporting empathy and kindness among the student population. Going to be painting rocks that will be in the rock garden at the next Drexel Theater. By the way, that's coming from the Barry and Denise Blank Fund. And some of you know Denise Blank passed away recently. Very, very supportive of our community foundation, and we're happy to be in that event with the students. So going from kind of the smallest project in terms of grant dollars to one of the largest, of course, we are just wrapping up the Jeffrey Mansion Capital Improvement Campaign. I know the mayor will be telling you more about the logistics of that, but from a fundraising effort, we announced in 2017 that we were going to be on the first capital campaign in the history of the foundation. We decided with some angst and stress that we would commit to $1 million in 2018. In 2018, we officially kicked that off at our annual event, and due to the fine efforts of Gary Giller, our developer, as well as a lot of others that worked tirelessly, by the time we announced the kickoff of the campaign, we had already raised a little over $900,000. So we were almost all the way. So in 2018, we increased to $1.5 million. And I'm happy to say that we wrapped up the major phase of our fundraising at last year with roughly $1.7 million raised for the Jeffrey Capital campaign. So we're very happy about that. What's coming up in 2020? Well, we're looking forward to both a groundbreaking and a ribbon cutting ceremony in 2020. We're looking forward to working with the city on that and celebrating all the success with the Jeffrey Mansion campaign. If you can put this on your calendar, I think this is a really cool event. April 2nd, we're going to be doing our bus tour. And this is where the bus works with us. And you start at the foundation right on Bexley, you hop on the bus, and we go around and we take a look at all the projects, not all of the projects, but a sampling of projects that the Community Foundation has funded over the years. So it gives a real good sense to see face-to-face what the Community Foundation is doing, what's happening in the community. So mark your calendars on that. More to come on that. October 1st is going to be our annual gathering. So again, put that on your calendars. We'd love to have great attendance. We had our largest attendance ever at the last annual gathering. We're looking forward to continuing to grow that. I think I'm probably over my time here, so I will wrap up just by saying, as I said before, a lot of times people think of community foundations in general and say, well, it's all about asking for money. That's part of it, but we really also want your ideas. If you have ideas of things that could make Bexley a better place to live, learn, work, and play, we want to hear from you. Call Hallie, myself. We want to hear your ideas, and we'll try to see if we can get them connected and continue to move forward. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for your time. Before I turn it over to the mayor, I have been asked to remind everyone, if you have questions, please write them down. I think there are cards and so forth. Pass them to the sides. And Hallie, Sam, I believe, will be collecting those. If you're watching on Facebook Live out there streaming, you can also write questions in your comments during this time. And when the mayor is finished speaking, we'll be gathering those questions and address them. Thanks again.
Thanks, sir. You want to swap? Okay. Thanks for pre-warning that seat for me. Hear me okay? Oh, there we go. Is this my? Oh, my. Evening. Oh, still hot. 1 sec. We're all good. I'm just going to speak loudly in the meantime. Thank you all for coming out to our 9th annual State of the Community address. This is the 9th year that we've done it for. We've brought partnering institutions to the table just to talk about what's going on in Bexley. I'm going to do something a little bit different this year. I am going to be as brief as possible. And what that means is I'm going to be going from topic to topic to topic in fairly light detail. And we can ask some questions and provide context as we go on. If I need to do anything to change this mic, let me know. Do I need to do that? Are we okay? Okay. For now. Feels kind of feedbacky. This is one that really didn't fall into any of the topics that I was going to cover this evening, but I really wanted to show it. This is a photo that was taken last summer at our Jazz at the Park series at Havenwood Park, and it captures such a beautiful image that I think is so emblematic of what Bexley is. It's a community gathered underneath an American beech tree, celebrating live jazz music, having some ice cream. And what it shows is young folks. It shows some of our older community. It shows community from surrounding communities. It is community. It's quintessential Bexley. And this is Bexley 2020. This is a community that's changing, that's evolving, that's welcoming more and more people to our community. We have a growth in our community that we haven't seen in many years. And it's a community that is slowly going from being others to being collectively us. This is Bexley 2020. I want to talk to you about what else is going on in Bexley in 2020. This is a quote from Dr. Scott Kingowen, who's a historian at the Bexley School District and has been doing some work Bexley history in general. But one of the questions I asked him about was, what happened at the I've talked for many years at Ferndale Mayfield? What sort of a landfill was it? Do we know anything about it? And he provided some really interesting background information that fills in a lot of the blanks as we've tried to figure out what is going on at Ferndale Mayfield, what are the environmental issues, and how do we cure them? Well, I have some really good news. 72 of the units at Ferndale Mayfield are at Mayfield Place Apartments. They have been environmentally remediated in the past year. So now we have 72 units, majority of the living units that have been remediated. The remaining 18 doubles that are on Ferndale and on Mayfield have not been. And the more that we've learned about them, the more that we've learned that there is a consistent level of toxicity among all of those properties. The Bexley Community Improvement Corporation has engaged with an affordable housing developer to master plan that area, as well as potentially some other sites, and try to make sure that we're not displacing affordable housing units. But we think in the next year, we'll start to see continued progress at Ferndale Mayfield, and all of this information comes together, and we learn how to provide a safer, cleaner, affordable housing environment for residents. I think you're going to see Bexley really putting our values to work in rehabilitating the Ferndale Mayfield area. So we'll be talking a lot more this year. These are the scales of justice. We don't talk much about Mayor's Court. Bexley operates a Mayor's Court, as do many other cities throughout Ohio. The term Mayor's Court is a little bit of a misnomer. We have a professional magistrate that oversees a court, and cases are brought before Mayor's Court. We've made a lot of reforms in Mayor's Court in the past year. We have a new prosecuting attorney in Mayor's Court. We have hired a public defender. We are now the second Mayor's Court in Central Ohio that has a public defender. The distinction being that Bexley's public defender is on site all the time for defendants who are indigent and pass a simple income test, the same income test that is administered at the county level. I have an announcement tonight. We have been working on another concept for Mayor's Court, and this concept is to create a system that is free of fees for indigent defendants. So if someone comes to Mayor's Court and they don't have the financial ability to pay, instead of strapping on more and more fines, we're creating a system that allows defendants to take volunteer hours and use those volunteer hours against Mayor's Court's fees and fines and costs. I always use the wrong terms, but they're all a bundle for Mayor's Court. We're using a rate of $15 per hour as our calculated wage for that, for indigent defendants, and that will be coming to Bexley Mayor's Court in the next few months. And I want to thank Becky Guzman. I see her right over here. She was one of the residents who's been talking with me about a while as we've kind of brainstormed this and tried to figure this out. And I think we're going to be the first Mayor's Court in Central Ohio that has this sort of format. Jeffrey Mansion. Jeff Walker has promised that I'm going to tell you all about it, but I think many of us already know a lot about what we're doing at Jeffrey Mansion. The expansion is going to bring more classroom space to the mansion, more event space to the mansion, and it's going to bring, for the first time ever, accessibility to the mansion. We'll be able to go from this new lower level up to the third floor, to the rec offices. For those of us who have experienced that hike before on the stairs, that's going to become a very appreciated change. We opened bids on this project last week, and we're still checking through those bids, but things are looking very that we'll be able to accept a winning bid tomorrow night at our Council Board of Control meeting. The process from there goes with in the next month or two, and we hope to wrap up the project by the end of this year, early next year. In fact, I'd like to announce tonight, everything goes well, our next community will be at Jeffrey Mansion. So this is our project, and it's coming along well. I'm going to talk a lot about projects this evening that were only possible because of the Bexley Community Foundation. Jeffrey Mansion is a project that we never would have really been able to dream about without the foundation in there. So we also received state capital fund dollars and are very appreciative of that. Over the past year or two, we've been putting a lot of thought into how to encourage healthy and active aging in Bexley and allowing residents to age in place. We have several initiatives we're rolling out this year. They include a senior navigators program where senior citizens or their caretakers are coupled up with social services that can be helpful to them. That's being administered by Jewish Services, and that pilot program starts at the end of this month. You'll see more information on that. We're also rolling out our volunteer system so that we're hooking up community volunteers with our actively aging population that needs assistance in the home, or maybe to go to a doctor's appointment, or maybe to go shopping. So that will be coming out this year as well. Additionally, we have put funds towards studying a dedicated space for senior citizens to meet, gather, and to call their own in the city of Bexley. We think we have a pretty good location for it. We think we have a funding model that might make some sense, and we'll be looking into that here. We're also working on a combined community senior calendar. All of the different organizations that are providing programming and educational opportunities for seniors have one home in which to put all of that information. We are knee deep, literally, in the construction work of the South Community Garden. So, as many of you know, the North Community Garden came online a couple years ago. The South Community Garden's been in place since 2008. It's part of the area that is environmentally, and although there was work in 2008 done to remediate that, we're up to EPA 1 standards, and we're taking it up to those standards. So if you go down today next to Schneider Park, the new playground, you'll see an elevated South Community Garden. We're going to have new plots, new raised beds, many of the amenities that came to the North Community Garden, and more. So we're going to have 2 twin community gardens that look and feel a lot like each other. We're really excited about that. Commonwealth Park. We started a master plan process several years ago. The first phases of the master plan are going to be implemented in 2020. They include arboretum features, which will be occurring over in this area, over on the western end of the park, and also the athletic field, the practice field on the west end of the park, is going to receive new irrigation and all sorts of amazing accoutrements that will enhance the playability of that field and make it a safer, more usable field for our future generations. Pickleball. Anyone here ever played pickleball before? Yeah. Well, we have a very active pickleball constituency in Bexley. Thanks to a generous gift from a donor. Are we allowed to say who the donor is? Thanks to a generous gift from Scott Solomon, which is Scott Solomon's dad, Sandy Solomon, which is being administered through the Bexley Community Foundation, we will be seeing new pickleball courts at Jeffrey Park right next to the tennis courts, which will also be resurfaced. We will be connecting Schneider Park Trail to Main Street. I've been talking about this quite a while. It's going to happen this year. I'm going to put it on record right now. We've done all the requisite work necessary. One of the things that has been holding up this project is it turns out it's a fairly difficult engineering problem. And secondly, we have been making sure we get the details right, because we expect that this may be the year that we see some substantial development plans coming to that empty lot at Gateway South. And we wanted to make sure that what we're doing to tie in Schneider Park to Main Street is compatible with future development and will really be enhancing of that. A community address is not complete without talking about sustainability. So let's talk about sustainability. 2019 was the first year of our full community food waste recycling initiative. We have over 1,200 households up for this service. We have diverted over 131 tons from the landfill. That's a really big deal. That's food waste that would otherwise be converted to methane, and instead it's being captured in compost that can be used for gardens and farms in Central Ohio. In doing that, if any of you have used this in your household, you'll find that the volume of your solid waste is precipitously dropping. I'm finding that. This week I had 1 bag of trash, I had a huge recycling container, and I had a full 5-gallon bucket. And the type of waste change that's happening in conjunction with our zero waste plan is pretty dramatic. So we're getting one step closer to that zero waste plan, and we're serving as a really valuable test bed for other communities in Central Ohio. We talk a lot among other cities about how well this is going. It's important to me that we get this right and we continue to do it well. We've had a month and a half almost of a single-use plastics bag ban under our belt. We have created take bag, leave bag boxes. We're trying to get one of those at CVS, but our merchants have really stepped up to the plate. And if you look in this photo, you'll see the cardboard boxes in the corner that are offered to the Giant Eagle. We've had really good feedback from merchants and residents. Some residents don't like it. We've had some really active social media conversations But one of the things that's been very encouraging throughout this is seeing how residents are really passionate about this policy and how they stand behind it and they back it up. It's going to get a little more fun in January of 2021, and that's when the single-use, like plastic straws and some of the utensils hits as a phase 2 of this ban. You'll also notice this year that every community event that you go to, at the Mint, the 4th of July, at Labor Day block party, we'll be using compostable cutlery. We're going to strive as much as we can to have food waste on site. So that's part of that whole plan. Solar on rooftops in Bexley is going to be easier in the next coming months with lower interest rates, longer terms of financing through residential PACE in Ohio. Very detailed, so that's as much as I'm going to give you right now. You'll hear a lot more about it. This is our big moonshot. I'm sorry, this is one of our 2 big moonshots. This is our little moonshot compared to the next one I'm going to talk about for sustainability in Bexley in 2020. We've been working for years on the concept of what we call universal recycling. It's the idea every business and every apartment unit in Bexley will have access to recycling. We've looked at best practices in other communities and how this might work. We have an OSU group of students studying this, and we'll be talking about this at the Green Bexley group and also at City Council 2020. I'm confident that this is something we're going to crack this year. An even bigger one is not going to be a wind farm in Bexley, although I just thought that was a beautiful, so I put that up there. So don't worry, we're not putting windmills up in Bexley. But for 2 or 3 years, we have been buying all of our municipal power supply from wind in Indiana. Communities have started taking some wind type power, wind rec credits is what they're called, and aggregating it to their entire community. So basically creating a system where the whole community can purchase power from renewable energy, which is great. But we've been working on, over the past couple of years, is taking that a step and identifying solar development in Ohio that we can participate in and be a meaningful piece of the demand supply chain. And so we have some really good progress, thanks in part to a Bexley resident who does utility scale solar development. And it looks like we're going to have a potential product to bring forward with the concept of what is called community aggregation, or creating an electric product that the entire into at similar as we would pay right now on the face value of our bill, but for renewable energy that's being generated in Ohio. And I'm not talking like a little renewable energy. I'm talking about enough renewable energy to meaningfully power the city of Bexley with solar energy when it's sunny, and with other types of renewable energy when it's not. Because guess what? It's not always sunny in Ohio. Except for in Bexley, we have this one pocket. The Drexel's up here, not because it's the best theater in Columbus, but it is, but because another thing we're working on bridges sustainability with community architecture and preservation, and that is our historic preservation law. We've been working for about a year now with a group to look at Bexley's historic preservation law and make changes to it to protect properties that aren't currently protected, such as the Drexel Theater. All commercial property is not currently zoned with any sort of historic preservation controls in it. And we also don't really have fantastic preservation controls for our residential properties. So you'll be hearing more about that this year. That's a scary looking photo of a police interceptor. But what's really cool about this police interceptor, the blue lights are supposed to kind of show you underneath, is that this is a hybrid police interceptor. And this year is going to be 3 of those online. We've been waiting for years to get better hybrid and fuel-efficient vehicles in our police fleet. And this is the first year that Ford is offering this in their Interceptor line. We're also purchasing a used Nissan Leaf for our code enforcement officer and continuing to expand our electric vehicle fleet as it makes sense. And this isn't really, by the way, this isn't like a very costly change. The cruisers save us money. An $8,000 Nissan Leaf, substantial amounts of money. And we're using electric vehicles not just to be more efficient, not just to be green, but also to make a good financial footprint in our community. We're also bringing body cams online this year. They are active right now with some of our shifts, and we're expanding them out. All of our infrastructure is in place, so you'll start to see body cameras on our police officers. This was a request from our police department. Some cities have seen this be a top-down. This was a down-top, whatever the opposite of that is, initiative, where officers receiving certain complaints or concerns about service, really wanted to have a higher level of transparency. And it's certainly with our vision of having complete transparency when it comes to policing. We have an amazing police force in Bexley. We have an amazing community-minded police force in Bexley. It's important for that amazing community-minded police force to also be able to a level of transparency and accountability that body camera and other technology give us. So we'll see that rolling out here this year. We're doing a lot in infrastructure and planning, typically focused on bikes and pedestrians. So our bike plan has kicked off. Our first public workshop is on February 24th. And we will have workshops for our bike plan aimed at providing a healthier, safer bike environment for Bexley. Here's a project that was funded by the Bexley Community Foundation along lines. This is called Tactical Urbanism, bringing certain improvements to certain areas where we really want to enhance our infrastructure. We're adding more pedestrian enhancements to Bexley. And this month, we're making sure that every traffic signal intersection has what's called a pedestrian lead time. We've been trialing certain high pedestrian volume areas, and we're bringing all of our intersections this month. What that does is an all red signal for pedestrians when they press the button. We're also changing our signals so that if you don't push the button, you still get the walk sign. But heads up, if you push the button, it will trigger and it will actually change. So make sure to pay attention to that. But so enhanced pedestrian environments are also coming to Bexley. A lot of work has been done over the past year or two. Diversity Inclusion Collaborative, which was a partnership among Bexley institutions in the city to try to identify ways that we could become a welcoming community through programming, through Welcome to Bexley events, through ways of overcoming hurdles when it comes to residents feeling welcome in the community. So you'll be seeing more programming focused around Bexley being a welcoming community in 2019. The Charter Review Committee. This is a good one, but it's important. Every 10 years, Bexley's charter kind of looks under the hood, determines are there changes made. We have a fantastic group of, I think, 15 residents that have signed up to be part of the Charter Review Committee. They're working over the coming year at looking at suggestions for changes. They want input from you. You can bexley.org/CRC, Charter Review Committee, if you didn't get that, and fill out a form with any recommended changes, or you can come to a meeting. They would love to hear from you. Back in 2012, this was the most edge government website that you would ever see. And actually, it's still pretty good in 2020. But we're ready for a new Bexley.org. So this year, we'll be bringing you a new Bexley.org. It will be much friendlier on your cell phone. It will provide better access to documents and events. We're working with a local company called WonderJam. With a name like that, we're guaranteed success. So keep your eye out for Bexley.org 2.0. And you've all heard about the Census 2020. I'm not sure you've all seen the cookies. But Census 2020 is happening April 1st, both April Fool's Day and Census Day. You're going to hear a lot about how to sign up and make sure you're counted. Here's why it matters. Government funding models are based upon the census counts. That's one reason it matters. But it helps us a lot to understand who's in our community. We get data about socioeconomic backgrounds. We understand how we can better our residents. We understand where density of housing units occurs. It's really helpful data and metrics for us, so it matters that we count everyone in our community. I end all of these with this. If you want to know what's going on in the city of Bexley, sign up for the Bexley Blast and then read every week. Sam Metcalf and his crack team of social media experts puts together a fantastically entertaining Bexley Blast for you. It has every piece of information that you would need for the city of Bexley, or at least we aspire for it to have that. So if you don't read it, read it. And now I want to hear from you guys. So our illustrious council president, Lorianne Feibel, is going to come up and we're going to answer some questions. Yeah.
We will get started, and I'll count on you handing them to me. Did I promise they would have some amazing things to share? These guys work so hard. They're always working, and the really cool thing is they work so hard together to make this place so special. So we've got some questions I know we were all keeping track of who was in us live. You know what? Ben, I didn't see this. You know how much we all love our puppies.
Yes.
Do. And I saw some pictures of dogs, but you didn't mention to us an update on the dog park. An update on the dog park?
Yes. So the dog park is planned for Schneider Park. We have built the boardwalk, and we're still in the boardwalk that's going to access the dog park from the Astor interface with Schneider Park. We came up upon a little issue when we went to finalize all of our documents for the dog park, which is that an easement for the use of part of the land that we thought we had, we did not have. It was committed though to the city. Good shape. We're just getting basically getting the processes through for that. And I know that's kind of a boring answer, but we're working on finalizing the easement. And then we have received from the amazing Bexley Community Foundation and feel pretty good about that project moving forward.
Wonderful. This question is for you, Elaine. And I know there's so much you could go on and on about this one, but what does the Chamber of Commerce do for Bexley? What does it do for the community? Scholarships, sponsorship at events, etc. How does it support businesses?
It does the beer crawl. I mean, that's something, right?
How can I go on? How can I?
By the way, real
summarize
quickly
that?
before you
Yes.
answer, one of the things we were supposed to be doing here is like helping answer our questions. So if you hear us like kind of bouncing stuff off of each other, we're going to try to make that happen.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. The Chamber supports and promotes area businesses. And by doing that, we promote opportunities for them, business owners and people who work in those businesses, to promote themselves to you, to educate themselves, as well as to network with themselves and with you. And we do that in a lot of ways by putting on events that help them connect with each other, network, by helping get them in front of you, the Taste of Bexley, the beer crawl, the holiday hop. And we provide opportunities for them to gain education. I'll give you another example. This coming at the end of February, I believe it's on February 25th, we are hosting a business breakfast that everyone's invited, but it's geared towards the business community. And it's going to be on social media and how those in businesses can really fine-tune their social media messages and focus on what will be most advantageous to them. Social media, as we all know, there's 45 different ways that you can go at it, but what's the most logical way for you to do it for your business? So that's what we're going to focus on. We try to promote, we help with the vitality of growing those businesses, and they in turn help with the sustainable growth in the community itself. Anybody want to add anything?
When
What have I
you
missed?
spend dollars locally, we just talked about this.
Yeah.
$86. It's 86 or 68. It's one of the two. Stay in the community when you spend that money. If you go to a national chain, only $46 stays local in the community. I have gone on to the chamber website and said, hey, I'm looking for this service, and I have found locally because it's important to support local.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs in Bexley. It's a very entrepreneur-heavy community, which is fabulous. And that fits on what Ben is saying, is those individuals and those small businesses help keep those dollars here in the community.
And I think also you help organize businesses in terms of advocacy. So like when we talked about our single-use plastics ban, you guys were at the table,
Yep.
making sure businesses knew
Yep.
about what was going on. And
Yep. And their voices are heard, and
Yeah.
right.
Plus, there's cool people on the board, Chamber of Commerce.
And those super cool people
Super cool.
help make really great events, like, for example, the main event happen. Elaine sits with us on the
Celebrations, right.
on the celebrations team. She helps us, and then she brings every time we have a main event, example, a table, and all kinds of local businesses come and share information with the individuals who are on the lawn enjoying themselves. And don't forget that they give us all kinds of fun. They do this big truck fest full of good
Food truck
food,
festival.
the food truck fest
Right.
at the Jazz in the Park. So
I
they
hope
do.
I hope we answered the question. If whoever asked it didn't feel that they got it answered, please come afterwards. I'm happy to talk forever more about it.
I think that this could be a anybody question. With the expansion of Jeffrey Mansion, will that promote opportunity for arts programming, creative jobs, and access to a variety of arts, visual, music, performance, etc.? Not sure.
Ben, would you like to answer that one?
You know, Ben, yes, I would. I think it's key because it's going to provide another venue.
Yeah.
So we are holding this event here. There's a number of places we could hold things in town. So if the library were having an event that would be really great in that space, then we'd have first dibs, I'm sure, for all those events. Second dibs. So I see it as another event space to invite the community into the mansion and partner with other, community groups to offer things for the public.
Yeah, if you want to think about it in terms of space, it's a little bit larger, I think, than the library auditorium, but it's less
in the basement.
It's
Also,
it's a
more
different
sunlight.
feel. It's a different ambiance. It's going to be actually the largest kind of gathering space that we generally accessible in Bexley, which, while not huge, is going to be a really great improvement. And I do want to acknowledge Bob Loversige and Tim Valesco from Schooley Caldwell, who helped us with the project here in the audience.
Thank you for being with us, gentlemen. Yeah, and Bexley, I'd love to get together. So, and the more the merrier. So
Mike Price has also promised me a grand piano, so I think that
Nice.
music opportunities will be there.
somebody fancies himself Bexley's piano man. We'll let him have that.
Jeff Walker.
And one thing that, because the city has done I can say this, since the city's done such a great job expanding and promoting programming, is that the existing space is really at capacity, significant periods of the time. So it's not just an issue that we have another option. I mean,
That's true.
That's
true.
It's needed.
It was incredibly tight.
Mayor Kessler, is there a development for the vacant old gas station at Main and Chelsea?
Yes and no.
that
That property has been tied up in an estate. So it went through a probate court process that was very prolonged. It was only a month or two ago that it finally transferred out of that estate. The property owner just applied for a grant to clean up the underground storage tanks, which is a very good development. The city supplied a letter in support of that. And I know that the Bexley Community Improvement Corporation has also been active in trying to find ways to help nudge and encourage. We have a really innovative law in Bexley, which you should know about if you plan on owning a vacant gas station, which is that if your vacant gas station is contaminating potentially the soil, you are charged a monthly impact fee of $2,000 per month, which is not a cheap proposition. Wow. So certainly that property owner has been hopefully stimulated by that fee, and we'll see some action there pretty soon. But I believe it's a really important piece of property. It's a gateway to Bexley on our western end, and fortifying, that's not the right word, not fortifying, but enhancing the western gateway as all this energy is also happening the eastern gateway. Oh my gosh, so you guys are like, use a map. The eastern gateway has all this energy is happening on the west side of Bexley. I think it's very important to us.
We are making lots of efforts to go green. I'd love to hear what each one of you are doing. How are your organizations helping to go green? And then maybe Mayor Kessler, you could suggest to some of the individuals in the room what they could do to go green.
Okay.
This may or may not have been a question from our favorite green girl in the second row.
What's up, Elizabeth?
Who would like to start? What are you doing to make us green, guys? Surely the
I
community.
can start.
Please.
So I know that one of the things you mentioned, we have worked or been in conversations with a number of the area restaurants who want to really reduce and minimize drastically the amount of waste that they have in terms of bottles and cans, et cetera. And so that is something that we're trying to move forward in conversations. I was going to say something else and it completely escaped me.
It'll come back to you.
It will.
Aggressively supporting universal recycling. I think
Yes.
that was one of the things
That
we
was
could say.
Yes, exactly. We are
You should-
supporting it. Go.
So,
Go.
sir, you should look, as in our efforts to promote the community foundation, we oftentimes think about something we can provide for the community. And over the last year and a half, we've been providing usable bags that we hand out at main events and other events around town. So in addition to trying to do our best word out about the foundation and what the foundation's doing, we're hoping that that is a product that people can take and use and help with this transition towards the ban and just a more green environment.
And you also funded a grant for the Bexley bag, which is going to be dropping in the next few months. In partnership with Giant Eagle and some other area organizations, we're going to be bringing a Bexley bag, reusable bag to the community.
I would say in addition to our years ongoing of recycling, we serve as a wonderful education gathering spot for ESAC, which is the Environmental Sustainability Action Council? Advisory. Action's cooler. We'll go with Action Council Committee. And so we've had a number of green events, green educational opportunities that we've offered at the library.
So my give
Yes,
tips to
please,
Bexley
just
households.
Give us a few tips.
You know what? So it's great that we have a single-use plastics bag ban. That's fantastic. You're going to start to become trained to bring your bag with you into a Bexley business. Take that training and use it at Target and use it at Costco and use it at other places that you're shopping. Look at, while we're still looking at the green rec, the green electricity options, go online to Apples is the Ohio Public Utilities Commission website. Buy energy that comes from green resources. You'll be surprised at how affordable it is. Think about an electric car. Think about maybe only having one car. Think about having no car. I can't say that because I have more than one car, but
walk when you can. Walk when you can.
Walk when you can. Bike some more, and we're working on all these things are very synergistic in our community.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question, and it is it was directed to you, Ben, but I think that it would be appropriate
Which
for
Ben? Sorry. It's a little-
the cool.
Oh,
I'll just leave it at that. The cool Ben.
Just talking about you.
What new project in 2020 are you most looking forward to? I think you each have projects going on, and bonus points if the project somehow works in collaboration with 1, 2, or 3 other members on the stage. Go.
Ben, please.
I mean, I feel like my answer is kind of obvious. I don't have a top. First off, I don't really have a top one, but I think what's great about the Jeffrey Project is what's kind of interesting for me is it's not just the Jeffrey Project for us. It's also a Parks Garage project, and trying to figure out all the logistics of that. And so I just love those details, and I find it to be a fascinating and fun project. But it's an incredibly collaborative project too. It's a project that was really inspired by the community foundation coming forward and saying, let's do something big. And we kind of had it as an idea, but it helped really distill as we talked through that. So that's an exciting project.
So mine is not as large or maybe as exciting because it's a directory, which sounds maybe humdrum, but that would be the one that I would pick because it gives us the chance to promote all of our members and promote the greatness of that connectivity and that interchange that happens between business to business, business to consumer, and back from consumer to business again. That's our vehicle that we get to talk to all sorts of people outside of Bexley about how great Bexley is and all of these assets and features that we have. So that would be mine. And it comes in a paper and a green version online. Sorry.
I have to say, from my perspective and the Community Foundation's perspective, we're excited about an awful lot of things that are broad from small projects to large projects. But I have to jump on and say I think it's Jeffrey, and it's not just because it's the by far capital dollar funding that we have done. Really, I think the new Jeffrey, the expanded, the improved Jeffrey, is going to be a place where memories happen for generations to come for Bexley residents. There, you know, both from the this is on programming. I want to say that both from the expanded programming that can happen there, the classes that can happen there with that expansion, to celebrations and party events that would have to happen outside of Bexley that can now happen inside Bexley and really tie people. And this is going to sound corny, but people's life memories can be now better tied to those symbols that really make this home. I think it's going to be a dramatic change, and very much looking forward to it.
So it's my turn.
The cool Ben.
Yeah. I have to say our strategic plan, it comes to an end this year. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to engage all parts of the community to find out what we can do as a library, how we can change and best meet the future of Bexley and the individuals in Bexley. I mean, I love talking about libraries. We have a dynamic, forward-thinking library. We have a lot of innovative things, and we want to continue to do that and hear from the community about what more we could be doing. And so at the author series of the library book, April 21st, I think I'm hopefully going to kind of announce, you know, kind of a feedback, listening to her to get everyone's inputs on what they'd like from their library.
We've got one more thing that the Bens want to tell you about, which is we've got a big project this year, which is we're working on a cookout trailer.
The grill wagon?
The grill wagon.
Are we telling them about the grill wagon?
Well, I figured what better time to tell people about the trailer.
I'm so excited for the grill
The
wagon.
mobile community cookout trailer is going to be off the charts, and you guys will see that rolling.
We're going to
to an
weld
event
stuff.
near you.
Oh,
Inspired by the Franklin County Department of Health, rolling to an event near you sometime this year.
it's going to be 100% safe.
Before we wrap up, Lori, and I'll say that, you know, this room is full of folks. There's city directors here, there are commission members, there are elected officials. You guys are doing it. You know, when we talk about all that we're doing here tonight, it's kind of exhausting, but it's less exhausting knowing that it's a whole community pulling together. So I want to thank everybody here for all you do. I literally, I'm seeing all these folks who are inspiring a lot of the concepts that we're talking about tonight, working behind the scenes for them. It's a very glorious job, I know, and I appreciate everything that you guys do. So thank you for that. And also know that on February 26th is the Bexley State of the Schools. So I know that you're missing hearing about the schools, but we've got a whole nother fun party on the 26th. So I hope that I'll be there, and I hope to see you guys there as well.
We all will gather again, and we will learn about what great things our schools are doing. It was amazing to these four individuals, and hopefully you can see how our leadership spends a lot of time collaborating, working together, and making special things happen in the city. Some of the things are hard, and we knock heads to make sure that we get it just right. But the brains, backed by the enthusiasm that these individuals have, really have made Bexley what it is special today. And I am very confident that it's going to even be better and better for our babies in the future. So thank you so much for caring enough to be here tonight.